Okay. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning, everybody. I would like to thank you all for attending the first talk in a series of talks organized by ETC to spread the knowledge and awareness in the latest developments in technologies by inviting specialists in the field to share their insight. Before beginning this session, let me remind you that the session is recorded and the questions, there will be some time for question and answers at the end of the session. Without further ado, let me introduce to you our guest speaker, Dr. Amjad Al-Dhuhli. Dr. Amjad had obtained his PhD in computer science and has a wide range of experience with 20 years in information technology field. He is leading the National Space Strategy Lead, the National ICT and Fourth Industrial Revolution Lab projects and initiatives that are cooperation between the government and private sectors. Dr. Al-Dhuhli is a member of the Global Future Council World Economic Forum, National E-Commerce Committee and Joint E-Service and E-Commerce Working Group in the GCC Council. His research areas are social business process, social data mining, and service-oriented architecture. Dr. Al-Dhuhli also has published journal papers and international conference presentations. Let's welcome Dr. Amjad Al-Dhuhli.
شكرا محفوظ. Thank you very much for having me today, inshallah. Inshallah, for today, just we'll have, a lecture, or I can say a webinar about the positive side of our data. Usually, once we start talking about data, we start talking about, the privacy and I can say the scary part of data. So I change, the way we are presenting, the type of the data and as well the other part of data. So today, inshallah, we'll have 4 parts in the coming 45 minutes. We'll talk about, where we are in the world of the data and how government and private sector organizations collect our data and how they use it. And at the end, I'll try to mix it with some practical examples, since I can see here a lot of, scientists joined us. So we'll go for some examples, what algorithm, how to do some data analytics. If we talk about Oman and world data, actually, our data, I can say it can be found in many places, in official places like government, like medical records, like civil status. As well, we are producing personal and data like emails and also social media. As well, private sectors are collecting from us the data is, for example, telecoms, IoT devices, retails, online shops, some applications, and you can name it. So these are the type of data which is collected. So we are not talking about our social data. We are talking about the data in general. That's mean our data, I can say, in government side and our data in private sector side as well. If we can ask, first of all, how much data we are producing each day, actually, there's no definitive answer for such question. We are producing very huge amount of data, as you can see here from this graph. Sometimes we have more than 3.9 billion, emails sent every day. And as well, we have more than 500 million tweets. You can see here also wearable devices are collecting from from our data more than 28 petabytes. That's mean 1 and also 18 zeros. So today we are producing very huge amount of data, and this data, it can benefit us and it can enhance our lives. So according to World Economic Forums, by 2025, there will be almost 50% of our data will be in the public cloud environment. That's mean we'll have more, actions in order to take better decisions, either by private sectors or either by government. Are we in this world in Oman, for example? Yes, actually, since we have data centers, and these data centers hosting cloud solutions, hosting Omani data, and hosting as well some international customers and some GCC customers. Today in Oman, we have 5 data centers owned by private sectors. I can name it Data Park, Cloud Acropolis, Data to Cloud, Data Mount, and the one which is coming with the collaboration with Omantel with the largest data center. I can say it's a data center for data centers. It's called the QNX. As well, we have the government national data center. It's owned by Minister of Transport, Communication, and Information Technology, where they host government cloud. Most of the governments, they are hosting their data in this data center. So they are just not worrying about disaster recoveries. So these data centers as well, they are getting benefits from submarine cables. The cable, I mean, these cables are under the seas right now. We have more than 20 subsea cables. These cables usually, they are carrying more than 99 of the international traffic. That's mean all your traffic almost is carried by these submarine cables. So that's mean all your internet surfing today is through these internet submarine cables. As well, Oman, it's I can say it's a hub today for GCC and the world, and also some international companies like Netflix, Facebook, and Google. They have some content servers in Oman because Oman is connected, as you can see here from this map, through submarine cables, which is fiber cables. So these companies, big companies, they are serving GCC through Oman. So if we move to second part, how governments and how also some companies collecting and use our data. So just we'll talk about the private sector, we'll not talk about the government, since just we are focusing about some public, informations. That's mean we are referencing our presentation to public data. Before talking about, type of data is collected by private sectors, let's see what type of data we are producing every day. There are mainly two types of data. I can say it's structured data and unstructured data. The unstructured data, it's almost 80% of our data. However, structured data, it's only forming 20% of our data. Unfortunately, unstructured data, it cannot be displayed in rows and columns. If you can see here, for example, in the first, left side, the structured data is displayed in rows and columns. Unstructured data consists of image, videos, word processing, email, and everything, you name it, comparing to structured data, which consists only numbers and strings. That's mean unstructured data, it requires huge amount of storage. That's mean we need data centers, we need servers, devices in order to store our videos, images, and it's very difficult, to deal with it. It's very difficult to conduct analysis with unstructured data if we compare it to structured data. As you can see here, it's our unstructured data. I can say it's almost 80% of our data. So how these big companies collecting our data? Maybe it's a little bit scary, but don't worry, maybe we'll come to it, and how these companies are using our data. First of all, they are collecting any kind of search, whether you are searching using the text or using the audio, like for example, Siri, or any type of voice command. As well, they are collecting any information, the video you are watching using YouTube or any other channel, for example, Netflix, or any other video watching using Instagram, TikTok, or any other applications. Also, they are reading every metadata. Since you are taking a photo, that photo, it's stamped with some information. Once you upload that photo to any social media or any Google or any sites, it will read the metadata. That's mean the location, as well the time, and also the description of the photos, the content you are sharing with others, whether in Facebook, whether in Twitter, whether in, for example, any type or any platform, and how you interact with ads, advertisement, and how you interact with clicking on the video, or for example, liking. So they are collecting how many times you like, for example, ads, and how many times you click on ads, and how long you view the ad. As well, the sites that use Google service. It means Suppose I don't, for example, open Google because I worry about collecting information, but I use, for example, some, private sector or some government websites. If that website is using Google services, that means still Google can see what I'm looking for, how long I stayed there for the websites, and as well, the time and dates, all information you consider it, they can see it. Also, the interaction with others, for example, how I'm interacting with my friends in the social media, they can see it. And the data surrounding me, that's mean my Bluetooth version, my Wi-Fi router, my communication towers. For example, I'm close right now. I'm talking from Knowledge of Science Muscat. That's mean they can detect, for example, which towers I'm very close to it. The content of data synchronized between my devices. If I have iPad and iPhone, even if I don't open my iPad, but I'm still surfing the net from my iPhone, and also there's a sync between my iPhone and iPad, they still can read some information from iPad. And also GPS locations, if you enable your GPS locations while driving, we'll come to that. Also, they can read your locations, I can say precisely. Device type, whether you have, Android or any other devices or iOS devices. Browsing sources like IP address, MAC addresses, the MAC addresses which is in your device. That's mean it cannot be, duplicated, but the IP address, you can find many IP addresses the same. Sensors data from your devices. Most of our devices, I can say, hundreds of sensors, the speed sensor, temperature sensor, GPS sensors. All these sensors are producing data. So they are also collecting these data. Communication operators, whether I'm connecting to Omantel or Ooredoo. Related news from other sources, like, for example, today, for example, I don't post in my Twitter any news about myself. I don't tweet anything. But for example, Al Watan newspaper or Oman newspaper or any tweets, my friend tweet about me, they also collect some information about myself. Data from trust partners, that's mean if we have a trust partners, if they have agreements with these partners, also they collect some information. And payment information, of course, if you have iOS devices or if you have Android and you are subscribed to some information, they are collecting your payments and they can have a full history of your payment through the mobile file. So why these companies are collecting that much information about you, about me, about others? Of course, there is, I can say positive sides and some negative sides. Let's focus on the positive side, because they are providing, each other services. Since Google, Facebook, and also other companies, they have a lot of services. So they are exchanging information between these platforms. Also to protect your, security, since they are collecting your mobile phone number. Why they are collecting your mobile phone number? In order to protect and send you verification if you are enabling two-way authentication in all platforms. If you don't enable these features, you will be in danger. That's why this is the most important feature in these platforms. Also, to improve the technical services of their servers. Also, they are monitoring, the performance of their servers and their databases. They would like to improve it by collecting all this amount of data and to bring new services, new product to customers, and also to customize the content you are looking for, customize the content and recommendations. If you are, for example, browsing Netflix or just, browsing Amazon or Nimshi or any websites that you are buying some services or products, you can find recommendation. It's based on your information collected. And also to have a measurement and the performance of the services you visited. It's not meant to be their services, it can be customer services if they are subscribed to these services, and also to protect the community, to detect frauds, to detect abuse and security risks in my devices, your devices, and also some private sector devices who are depending on their services. So how these companies share the information? We have seen what type of information they collected, and also and how they are using this information. Now, how they share it? They share it with service providers, such as, I'll give an example here. For example, you are looking for a restaurant in Al Qurum, and you would like to access that restaurant, and you book appointment with the restaurant. Once you click in Google Map for that restaurant and you click the icon call, immediately Google will collect this information and immediately it will send it to that restaurant once you do the call from that application. Also, they share information with the domain administrators. Today, some universities and colleges are hosting their emails in Google and some of them in Microsoft. And so they are sharing this information with the domain administrators to measure the performance of the services and also to solve any critical issues happening to student and faculty members. And also for legal reasons, of course, some governments, they are, for example, they have a compliance program, and for advertising companies to help them in order to sell their services and to show some trends in social media and also in web search in Google specifically, and to sites that subscribe to Google Ads services, because these sites are depending heavily on these services either from Google or Facebook or other services in order to improve their businesses. We have seen right now Google. Let's go to Facebook. So Facebook, they are sharing information between products. That's mean between WhatsApp, between Instagram, and between Facebook. If you don't have, for example, Instagram and you have a WhatsApp, your information will be shared to Instagram even if you don't have Instagram account. And also they are sharing to suggest new product. That's mean, for example, if you are visiting some areas in let's say shopping malls, they immediately can notify you about product and services. And also it can be used as a tool for rescue during crisis, during volcanoes, during floods, during any type of crisis. People are using Facebooks because there is a feature there. They call it, I think, safe. So using this one, government can access from Facebook how many people are in crisis, how many people needs, for example, a rescue. Also to ensure the security of your browsing. That's mean they are studying the behavior of your, browsing, behavior of your opening the apps. If someone would like to hack your applications, the Facebook or Google will notify immediately using artificial intelligence applications. This is not your, behaviors. So immediately maybe they will send a two-way authentications. That's why sometimes you are getting in WhatsApp two-way authentication, the PIN number, which you have, to enter it many times because of that changing your behavior. Also to bring new, products and services and help companies to understand type of people once they start offering their services and products. If you have, e-commerce websites and these websites would like to do more marketing, you need to bring more people, you need to bring more customers to serve your services and to buy from your websites. With these, services from Google and Facebook and other platforms, you can utilize it with a low price and you can have more interaction with some customers. At the end, also, they are providing academic research by many programs. If we go to some programs, with these companies, you will be surprised. For example, in Google, they have more than 8 million. For example, they call it YouTube 8M. It means that they have more than 8 million videos, public videos from all people. They have uploaded their YouTubes. So they label these, I can say it, you can see here these videos with high quality machine generated and annotations. That's mean in the video, this is a video, you can see it in the screen. They have divided the video into four areas. The first area is the introduction, which is indicated by yellow. The second one, the indoor dialogue. The third one, the red one, is the outdoor activities. And the last one is the credit. In these videos, it has been annotated and also labeled with human. So imagine you have right now a database of 8 million videos. You can download it. You can use it in your machine learning algorithm and your machine learning and artificial intelligence in your experience. If you have students, and if you are a student as well, you can use it in your projects or in your final year projects, and you can enhance these type of labeled and annotated videos. Another type of benefits of our data from the projects, it's called open image datasets. Google today, they have more than 9 million labeled photos. It's ready to be downloaded. These photos has been labeled and masked to identify the type of the photos. For example, if you search for a coffee, you can see here a lot of photos, but these photos, how I can use these photos to teach my algorithm, to train my algorithm to identify coffee. Instead of repeating these jobs again and again, right now I have a huge data set. That means I have 9 million photos. I can use it in my algorithm free of charge with open source. So this is the big benefits of uploading photos, public photos. If we go to Microsoft today, they have more than 250 million publications. You can see these publications. If you log to Microsoft Academic, you can see even about Oman. If you search, for example, Oman or Muscat, you can find a lot of research about Oman and Muscat. And also they have more than 260 authors in this database. Facebook also, they provide a huge amount of research tools to researchers, academic people, and industrial people. So they call it data for good. That's mean they have, open map. They have data for satellite images. It can be modified. It can be used. It can be, in their algorithms, in their machine learning as well, injected in machine learning. Also, they have scholarship programs for PhD students. Anyone can apply, even from Oman, Middle East. If you are focusing on data and algorithm and machine learning, you can apply to these fellowship programs in order to get benefit from these programs. And finally, I can see here, Amazon, they are providing a free accounts to academic faculty members and also to students. They are providing internship, so it can be utilized by your student. And if you are finally a student, you can apply for these chances in order to work with international companies in order to improve your career path. Besides the above information collected from our, daily, activities, also the wearable devices today, they are thinking to connect our information, health information and fitness information, of course, with our permissions to health organizations in order to measure the body, movement, and also like exercise and durations, and also the healthy of our sleepness, how much breathing are breathing, heart, oxygen and body temperatures. So at the end, this information is collected from us. Of course, they are doing business and producing huge amount of money, but at the end, we are maintaining our good health. Many people, came to know that they have a heart attack because of the wearable devices, their Apple Watch or any smartwatch. They are notifying them about their heartbeat. Without these wearable devices, they will be in trouble. So that's why sometimes these devices is very good for us. Beside also the wearable devices, if we think about the social media and how it can help us in marketing our business. If you have a business, small or large businesses, you can depend on social media and you can depend on these platforms in order to market for your, devices, market for your services or products. Social media will give you a market analysis. That's mean will give you insight about competitive, and also will give you full information about customers surrounding you as well. It will start building communities, depending on your product and services, and improve your online repetitions, that's mean improve your online feedback, and also will give you a new business opportunities, maybe inside the city or outside the city or even outside the country. This is an example of, doing analysis of your business. Suppose you have online store or any type of shops coffee shop or restaurant or any type of customers services, and you are subscribing to these social media platforms in order to get, insight about your services provided from the websites. You can see how many customers are visiting you per hours, and also how many, what type of devices these customers are using, and also are they male and female, from which country, and which time they are visiting your, services. So all this information is helping to you to find new business opportunities to improve your products and services. Also, these companies are collecting some information from our devices, as we said in the beginning, from sensors, from the speed and location, in order to produce the heat map. This heat map is very helpful during the traffic. That means they are collecting how many number of cars in each road, in order to give us a good navigation system, and also to lead us to alternative road if there is an accident. Besides that, also they create a database for all locations, for all cities, for all villages, for future projection. That means if you would like, for example, to travel from Qurm to Sib from 3:30, starting from 3:30, you can immediately from now, you can, for example, route your way, and you can find the projection. Is it going to be, busy road or not busy road? So all these data collected from our devices, from private sector, from governments. So what if I stop, for example, share my data? If I decide to stop sharing my data, I stop, for example, disable all features, disable the location, and I start using, for example, old-fashioned of phones, what will happen? Actually, maybe we'll be in some crisis. First of all, we'll have huge amount of traffic, but that means we'll not be able to see what's the alternative surfaces or roads I can go through it, because Google Map will not be able to collect all these informations, because most of the people, they are stopping the surface as well. Today, because of the wearable devices, we can be notified who's been infected by COVID-19. That means it will help us to be protected. If we stop sharing this information, the COVID-19 will be spread a lot. As well, we'll have more, job seekers. A lot of job will be lost. We'll have a traditional services. That means if I decided to, for example, to stop shopping from online, that means online application will not collect any information from my side. That means we'll go to the traditional services and we'll kill the innovation. At the end, what we are doing, we are slowing down the economy. That means we are not bringing new businesses. We are not, creating new jobs. We are not contributing to the GDP. We are not enhancing our economy. So the data, actually the benefit of sharing the data, enhancing the economy, bringing new people on board, scientific people, academic people, in order to have more innovative community. So let's move to the third part of data analytics algorithm. This is a little bit pure practical, just to understand how these, companies or governments treating with our data. The first example, we'll talk about the sentiment analysis. Today, for example, I'm posting some tweets or some, videos using any platform. So how these companies and government, they can measure, my intention. Is it positive, negative, or neutral? In this example, we'll go this example. Don't worry about this algorithm. It's not very complex. We'll have an example here. This is an example. For example, I'm tweeting about the movie. I said the movie was great. So the cinema, how they can, for example, understand, is it a positive tweet or a negative tweet? Of course, they are using a platform and they are subscribing to our platforms and they are getting this information immediately. But let's understand how these platforms are treating our data, how they are, taking our data and doing some analysis of our data. First of all, these platforms, they call it training sets. That's mean like a dictionary of each word. And also they have a weight for each word, if it's, for example, positive or negative or neutral. So they compare our tweets with the classifier, and at the end, they will find it whether it is, for example, positive, negative, or neutral. That means satisfied, neutral, or not satisfied. So let's have, to talk about the classifier, how this classifier is working. First of all, they will take the sentence and break it into words. That means they will tokenize it. So you can see the sentence here, the movie was great. They will break it into words. The second step is to remove special characters. That means the special character, it can be full stop, it can be discrimination mark, it can be, for example, any type of special characters. The third step, to remove the stop words. The stop words is mean here the, was, that, he, she. These are called stop words. The third step is to classify the remaining words. That's mean here we have only two words, movie and great. That's mean we'll weight the movie and we'll weight the great. So the movie, it has right now 0. That's mean it's neutral. Great, it has +1. That's mean positive. So we'll add 0 + 1. It will be 1. 1, that's mean +1. So it will be positive. It means a positive feedback about the movie. If we take an example in Arabic, الانتظار في المستشفى متعب, it can apply the same methodology here. الانتظار, it can be -1. المستشفى 0, that's mean neutral, يعني وسطية. في طبعا, this is, they call it the stop word. متعب, it's also -1. If you add -1 plus -1, it would be -2, which means negative. So my tweet, الانتظار في المستشفى متعب, that's mean this is very negative. So this is the first example about treating our, text data. Let's have another example, which is medical example, treating about our records, about our, for example, X-ray. So in the X-ray, how I can identify COVID-19 patients from non-COVID-19 patients. There are 7 steps almost in this algorithm. The first step is to collect the X-rays. You can see here I collected, for example, here 12 X-ray or 16 X-rays. I need to classify it. For example, the first row, it has a COVID. The second row, normal and extra. The second step is to prepare the data sets by entering these X-rays into the system, and we choose the model. The third step, that's mean we choose the algorithm. The third step is to choose the training. A training, it means I take 80% of my data. If I have 100 X-rays, I will take 80%. That's mean 80 X-rays, and I put it in as a training algorithm. And I put another one 20%. That's mean 20 images of X-ray as evaluation to double check whether this is correct or not, in order to bring, the new algorithm, in order to make it the algorithm comparing to the X-ray taken by, the hospital. You can see, for example, here, these are maybe 7 steps. It can be 9 steps, or it can be less than that. It depends on the algorithm. And also, you may have a question. Why do I need to have my own, for example, algorithm in order to analyze the X-rays? Actually, if you compare the human body size of the Asian people, Middle East people, European people, and American people, it differs a little bit. That's why I need to feed my algorithm. I need to feed my system. I need to feed my applications with a data sets. That's mean I need to more data. Once I have more data, my algorithm will be more intelligence to give me a very precise data. So if I conclude my talk today regarding the positive type of our data, every day we are using huge amount of data. Our data can be positive and negative. It depends actually how we are treating our data and how we are posting our data through social media or through any platforms, online shopping, or any, for example, government entities. So we need to watch our privacy, and we need to be very careful about our data. Specifically, we don't disclose any personal information. That's mean we don't disclose any like ID cards or Visa card informations in order to protect us in future and protect also our community and families and our government. Thank you very much for having this quick webinar and lecture about the positive type of our data. If we have some questions, I believe we can have a time right now to take some questions. I think Ustadha Mahfouza, you are managing.
Yes,
webinar.
Thank you very much, Dr. Amjad. I really like the information about the sentiment analysis and the use of Facebook as a tool to rescue people during the crisis. Now we will. So far, I have not yet received any question. But those people who had raised their hands, okay, 1 second. We'll just unmute them. Muhammad Furqan, Mr. Muhammad Furqan.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. If you have any question.
Yes, please. Thank you very much for giving me an opportunity to ask a question. Thank you, Doctor. It's really good presentation. I really like it. And it's really good to see that this information is very helpful for us. Even being an IT person, I really love to see that we are the hub of GCC, and it's very. I think it's a proud moment for us to be a part. I mean, to have this achievement. I just have a small question here. Like, as we know that everything is being like noted down or like monitored. Whatever activity, whatever action steps you are going to be perform on your internet. I personally feel, I don't know whether some other might feel like that. I personally feel, is it like a surveillance? Like we are under surveillance. They are monitoring us. They are watching us doing even a single step, single activity, single enter. They are monitoring everything. How we can like how we can stop this? How we can make sure that this should be limited, like something which I don't want to share with them. Even I have noticed, and even there are some researchers out there, if you're not even using internet, if you just maybe disconnect your internet and maybe you just do some other activities, or maybe just doing walk or something like that, even that is being recorded on some servers like Facebook and Google. How we can make sure to be limitize those things so we can have our privacy? Is there anything like what should we do for that to make it reduce or limited?
Yeah, thank you very much for this question. It's really a very nice question. Actually, some countries, they have started, working on the privacy laws. Some of these countries, I can say from European Commission, some European countries, they have a task force in order to force these companies, specifically American companies, in order to keep the customers or European customers' data inside Europe. And also, I'm working with the World Economic Forums right now. We are trying to, advise some governments in order to introduce a privacy law, or I can say it, not a privacy, even regulations, I believe. However, there are some negative part here. Once you have many regulations, laws, and regarding the data, and that's mean you are restricting the data, it means you are slowing down the innovation. So I believe some governments right now, they are very careful regarding this one, because I can say, for example, China, Europe, and America, most of the company, it came from their side. That's mean this is like the economic arm of them. So they don't, I mean, intend to kill the innovations and slow down the economy of these big giants. So until now, there is no specific, I mean, answer to your questions. We cannot stop these companies and we cannot stop governments from collecting our data. However, you can change your behavior and you can be, I mean, very safe, I mean, in a very safe and comfort environment and be far away from problems, and nothing will happen to any of us, inshallah.
Inshallah. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you.
Okay, we have another question from Dr. Abd Ali. Dr. Abd.
Okay, Assalamu alaikum. I just don't want to give any introduction. I'm from Utah's University of Technology, Abri. I have a direct question, Dr. Amjad. We have so many data centers. We are collecting the data and we are also using the data. Now, the major concern here is how about the security part? Now, recently we also faced one of the major issues of somebody is hacking the data. So now can we just focus on, because collecting the data, using the data is other aspect, but how about the security aspects of the data? So I think we have to have more inputs on the security part. So can you throw some light on that?
Thank you for the questions. Actually, I'm not a security specialist. However, I can answer your question in very general. Security, it will remain one of the biggest concern for our data. So it's endless scenario. So once we have a new solutions, that's mean after 1 month, it will be old solution for, I mean, security or for hackers. That's mean will not end to a certain level of having a very secure applications. You will see every year a lot of problems regarding the security. So this is my belief. But here in Oman, alhamdulillah, we are right now in a good position regarding the security. We have security centers.
You'll ask?
And also we have a skill sets. We have
Be there
great,
so that I don't have echo at Wafaz.
And we have also, I mean, Omani talents. They are working right now in even international companies. They are very specialized in security. So in terms of security, it's not a big problem, but it will be a concern for every nation. It's not just for Oman.
Why don't we take up some research projects, especially on the security areas, Doctor? But you are into an area where you have a lot of data. So Utah and the universities are there, students are there. Why don't we involve the students in these kind of, developing an algorithms where, maybe firewalls and all those things. So why don't you tie up with some of the universities for these kind of projects?
Yes, the same question I asked it recently, one of the CEOs of a data center here in Oman. Can we have, for example, more collaboration between these private sector data centers and academia? He said, yes, we have received many requests regarding, I mean, even with high performance computing, they are right now working with some research. But maybe these requests cannot be, requested through their websites. It can be requested through one-to-one connection with these, data centers. So I believe they are supporting. And once, if you have a project with your student, you can approach them. I can connect you myself to this data center, and they are willing to help.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you very much.
Any other question, please, Mahfouza? You can take more questions.
Yeah. Yes, we have another question from Mr. Roland.
Yes. Hello.
Yes,
Yes,
Mr.
please.
Roland.
Yes.
We could hear you.
Go ahead.
Yeah, before I ask my questions, I actually have 2 questions, but before that, I would like to congratulate you for the wonderful research that you have done. This is very comprehensive on my part, because I'm also dealing with some research about the structure. But actually, I have 3 questions now. But let me first start with the legal aspect, because we cannot avoid acquiring our personal staff, like the Apple, like driving my car to Muscat, I will be really benefited from getting this traffic information. That's really helpful. And discussing about the positive side of the data that we have right now, I really appreciate that. But the one thing is, I would like to ask the legal aspect of Oman government, how, because the last slide that you have shown, watch our privacy, but that is passive. That is passive aspect on our part. What is the active passive, the active part of the government wherein they have to, do they have law created to ensure that we are protected even though our data are being shared to this business mentality of the businesses that they take our data without our consent. But of course, we cannot avoid that. We use resources, we use devices which is connected through IoT, which is connected getting our data automatically without our knowledge. But what is the action of government creating laws to protect us in one way or another?
Yeah, thank you very much for this question. Actually, today in Oman, we have cyber security law. It's in place already. And also we have electronic transaction law, also times ago. And right now they are working with the data protection law. It will be approved, inshallah, very soon by royal decree. And the government is working very hard to protect, our data, whether government data or private sector data. So regarding the laws as well, it will stimulate the investment here in Oman. That's mean it will bring more investment, which means any international data centers, they can open their branches here in Oman. Also, they can serve their customers here in Oman, and some of the cyber securities, they can start their businesses in some areas here in Oman. So yes, we have some laws. These laws is helping to protect us, from internal and international threats, I can say, or cyber threats.
Okay, thank you for that information, Doctor.
Thank you.
We have another question from Mr. Majid Anwar.
Assalamu alaikum. This is Majid from data center team. I have the same question which earlier asked about the data law protection. Okay, do we have this agreements, our government's agreement with like Facebook, Google about data sharing? Because these companies, they are collecting the data in any way. When we are subscribing to their services, we are sharing our data to them. Is there any government initiative that they are also asking these companies to share their people's data to them so that they can have a more viable view about their peoples?
Yeah, Majid, you're making my life very difficult. This is a very difficult question, actually. So I don't have information regarding this one. I don't know, actually. However, from my research, I have seen that, for example, in their privacy statement, Apple privacy statement, there is a clause. They are sharing the data with governments, but mainly with European governments. So it can be transferred, yes. I can see, for example, cross-border transfer from Apple, the US to Apple, Europe. However, in the GCC, I don't have any information, and specifically on Oman, I don't have any information whether they have agreement with these companies in order to access our data. I don't know, actually. Sorry, I don't have answer to this question.
Thanks, Doctor. I think it should be good if you can initiate with the higher authorities, because this is the case if we saw with some countries like China, they did something and now they are given step back to the services like Google withdraw their services and other companies. They can do future to enforce their policies to grab the people's like this for the data. I think it is good if
Yeah, exactly.
you can
I agree with you. Yeah, I agree with you. However, I cannot hear your voice. It's disconnected. I mean that the China and United States, they have started the war regarding the data, and you can, if you heard about the TikTok, I mean, cases where when Donald Trump, made an order to stop the TikTok in the United States unless they move data centers and move the application to be hosted in the United States, and it was a great, I mean, business opportunities for these companies. So Oracle took the deal, and right now it's hosted by Oracle. However, worldwide customers, I don't know, maybe still hosted with a Chinese company, but United States customers and users, it's hosted by Oracle. They'd like to make sure that the data in United States will stay in United States. So this is the power of the data. I can see this is a new, I mean, source, a new oil of, I mean, generation.
Okay, before the end of the session, I think we can take more questions. Miss Iman?
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. First, I would like to appreciate Dr. Amjad for this powerful information that you shared with us. It's truly data collection is a power tool or powerful tool. But since we are into academe, my concern is about the student data information. Okay. When we're talking about the student data privacy, we're usually talking about things that can go wrong. Okay, so, and I'm sure all of us here are parents. So my question is, what information that we need to get from the students so that we can protect them also?
Thank you for the. Yeah. Thank you for your questions. Yeah, this is also a little bit very general question. So, what type of information you can collect it from students in order to protect them? A lot, actually. You can protect your students by giving them awareness, and also you can, since your students, I think maybe they are hosted in Microsoft or Google, I don't know. And you can, I mean, manage, I mean, the data, their collaboration as well, and you can spread, I mean, many, I mean, social campaign. However, their personal information, I don't know how you can access them, because it's at the end, it's personal. Even their parents, they can access their data. So it's very, I mean, tough, and it's very difficult in order to protect someone if he is not willing to collaborate. So the collaboration is very important. Mm-hmm. So by educate them how to use the data in a good way.
Thank you so much, Dr. Allah Hibarika Fiq. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you. We will have another question, maybe last question from Mr. Nasser Saqri.
Yes, you hear me? Thank you for this interesting presentation.
There is an echo, Mr. Nasser. Mr. Nasser, we cannot hear you properly.
Yes, do you hear me well?
No, there is a technical issue, I think. We will shift to another question, I think, from Mr. Ronald. Mr. Nasser, you may type the question.
Okay, I'm going to write it.
Okay.
Yes, hello, Mr. Dr. Amjad. I have another question. Because now it's a little bit alarming to us to know that 80% of the data are considered unstructured, while 20% is only structured. And when you presented this this sentiment analysis and data analysis, that is really helpful. But this is just to be realized, to be part, to be on the aspect of the structure. Am I correct? But right now we have this multimedia data like audio, like video data that I've learned. I've read some research that nowadays there are some mechanism to analyze also the other type of data, which is greatly 80% unstructured. So do you have any other information about this or elaboration on what are the new latest approaches or mechanism they use to treat unstructured data?
Yeah, thank you for your question. Regarding unstructured data, yes, today I can say it's very easy. It's not that hard in order to do some analytics for these type of data. As you have seen my example, YouTube 8M, that's mean 8 millions. It has been classified and labeled by human. So they are ready in order to train your algorithm. Suppose you have algorithm, and this algorithm is going to do some analysis for local videos, even not for example international video. For the video you are producing, you can use these sort of the 8 million videos. I can say let's use for example 1,000 videos in order to train your algorithm, because it was labeled already, and it was also ready to be used in your as open source. Another type, which is the 9 million images. Suppose today you have image of flowers, image of tables, or image inside or outside. You can also download these images, and from these images you can identify, for example, this mask type of masks, and you can add to it, and you can, for example, modify these algorithms to train your new machine learning algorithm. So yes, there are a lot of algorithms and a lot of method it can be used today to do any analytics for unstructured data.
Thank you, Doctor.
I guess we had come to the end of this talk. At the end of this talk, join me to thank our guest speaker, Dr. Amjad Al-Duhli, for his insight about what is happening in the industry. And would like to remind you all that today's talk recordings will be available in ETC Talk channel in Microsoft Stream. And to remind you also as well to fill the survey through your email. Thank you again, Dr. Amjad. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.